don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-rig Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ, break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real put alive from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-rig champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-rig Kane show. The 6-rig Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the 6 Rings Canes post-game show as the Miami Hurricanes take USF to the woodshed and put hurting on them, beat the brakes off them, as I like to say. Finally figured it out, beat the USF Bulls 50-15. And I know we got a lot to talk about. We definitely got a lot to cover on the post game show because some mixed emotions on some things, but also some really good stuff as well. I'm kind of gonna go off on a tangent later, I'm sure, about the running back situation because I've got something to say there. So, but in a good way, in a good way, right? Really happy about it. Yeah, look at Max. Howdy, Mr. Max.
Gonna see him at USF in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right. You guys will see him up.
Sorry, not USF at Cal. It's been a long night. I thought this game would be over like an hour and a half ago. So
this game was a long one.
Speaking of Cal, they lost to Florida State.
Yeah, they kind of blew that game. They were the better team and could not. Multiple red zone failures.
Jesus Christ!
They played the game that the commentators thought USF was playing. Oh yeah, if they could just score in the red zone, like buddy. They've been in there twice. One was on interception to the 10-yard line.
And the humidity, good lord.
They kicked a lot of field goals because that Grammatica dude they fucking unretired from Tampa was bombing in 55-yarders. The hell did they get that guy from? He wasn't on the scout report. What was that?
Oh man! Before we get to that,
like his father, that's for sure.
No, I know. I think it was his father. I think they cheated.
Well, he's a freshman, so
that was not serious for anyone that takes these things too seriously. That was a joke.
Good kicker. Good
kicker. We'll see him in the portal in a couple of years. All right, let's.
Second person that says that today.
If he wants to go to a real school.
Second person that says that. That's funny. Before we get to that, let's dive into our sponsors. You Break Will Fix. Have you ever run over a pothole so hard your steering wheel shakes, constantly losing air in your tires that you need to keep adding air? Chances are there's an issue with your wheels, and You Break Will Fix is your solution. You Break Will Fix is Miami's premier wheel repair and restoration company with over 20 years of experience and located in North Miami. You Break Will Fix offers quick repairs for damaged wheels and in most cases can offer free loaner wheels to keep you on the road while repairing your damaged wheels. If your wheels are looking weathered and it's time to freshen up your car, don't replace, refinish. Their in-house wheel refinishing solutions such as powder coating, machining, and polishing will give your car the like-new look it deserves. Contact Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or on all social media outlets at You Break Wheel Fix. That's the letter U, Break Wheel Fix. Mention 5 reasons and get 5.5% off your next repair. You Break Will Fix Powder Coating and Wheel Repair, located at 1848 Northeast 143rd Street in North Miami. It's 305-748-0112. Again, 305-748-0112. You Break Will Fix. So the Canes win 50-15. And we still got You Break Will Fix up there. There you go.
I know. And there's a lot of buttons I got to click over here. It's late, man.
DJ, yeah, man, they can fix your wheels. Don't worry about it, man. They got you. All right.
That was a wheelchair.
All right,
joke,
cool.
but...
Nice.
So check it out, guys. I mean, listen, yeah, AO popping into the chat. Let me see. We got a whole bunch of people here in the chat already. Obviously, shout out to Max, Kermit, Jermaine at 845 saying that we were done. That's it. We were being outplayed. Danny Barry, Parrish, Fresh, AO in the building. You got Parrish. I mean, look, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that we're gonna talk about.
But just on the reason I flashed this up, it was 28-0 in the second half, but it was actually 36 points in a row because they were up. They were up 15-14, and then
there was 5 touchdowns in the second half.
4.
It was 4. Okay.
Yeah, it was 20. It was 22-15 at the half.
Right. It was 5 straight touchdowns. That's what it was, right? Because including the one in the first half. Okay, cool. Anyways, 50-15. Look. I obviously I was pissed off at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Looked like there was a lack of focus from the team on both sides of the football. Fatigue set in a little bit with that tempo that USF was running. Honestly, right? So you noticed that there was some breakdowns and some big plays that USF was able to come up with. But all in all, I mean, Miami held its own. They blocked the field goal. Well, a point after. They blocked the point after. They missed another one because of the pressure up the middle from Elijah Alston. So there was a lot of good things that, you look back at that score and you see that, they were up at one point by 1 point before. Up by 1 point at 1 point. Saw what I did there? Before the half, and then we hit that 76-yarder to Sam Brown. So there was a lot of going back and forth, a lot of emotions. Again, this is a USF team that did the same thing to Alabama for a little bit. They hung around for 3.5 quarters. With us, they hung around for about a quarter and another 3 quarters of another one, right? So almost 2 quarters, and then you saw Miami kind of put it together. They shut USF out in the second half, and they were able to kind of get everything going again and play some really good football again this week against USF. Talk to me a little bit about Vish. I don't know. Vish is having his own party there. I don't know what's going on.
Well, this is what's going on because I don't know what the hell is this.
Hi guys.
Jesus. Oh Jesus.
I gotta stop putting the links in the group chat.
Yeah.
I'm 45 minutes down I-4 at Universal Studios currently.
Yeah, so what are you doing on the show? Go to Universal. Are you kidding me?
I was there the other night. I ran into Dono at Halloween Horror Nights.
I know, that's funny. I'm sure.
But I wanted to come say hello because my score prediction for this game was 52-16. So I just want to point out how close I was.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to watch the game, but I had to pop in just to see Vish's face. So that's why he was smiling, because he was happy to see me.
Surprised might be a better way to put it.
Surprised.
And I don't have a Canes hoodie.
On the screen, I heard the thing
so
pig, and I thought I was like, oh, Blue did show up. Then I looked who it was. I was like, oh.
That's why I was going like this, and Vish was like, "What are you doing?"
That's awesome. That's awesome. Look, at it was you had it at 52-16. I had it 40-16. So I was close for a while, and I I was like, oh, there they go, scored another one.
Yeah,
that's
Jordan
fine.
Lyle ended
the
your
only
chance there.
important question I have, because I haven't even had a chance to look at the stats yet, was did a tight end score a touchdown?
No, not tonight.
Nope.
They played well. They played well.
Boys.
I know. I was
Let
all
me
excited, and I waited for 4 hours for a tight end touchdown, and I got nothing.
But we got to win, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. BYU just did a flea flicker up. Anyways.
So I'm going to go. I just wanted to pop in and say hello and see if Fish would let me in. Strong work, guys.
See you later, hoodie girl.
See you guys at Virginia Tech on Friday.
You know it. You know it. Have fun.
Anyway,
that's all right, man. Mel from Buckets and from the Six Rings Kings group there.
Hey, you know what? She has more energy than any of us right now. So,
I
mean, because you have to sit through that slog fest. Like one play injury, one play offsetting 6 penalties. I mean, we got to talk about the refs at some point.
Yeah, we're gonna get
those buffoons. Like, what the hell? Like, they don't know how to run the game or what the rules are. That was embarrassing. But anyway, I thought we actually came out okay and scored a touchdown in the first drive. And to your point, Jez, I think that actually was almost worse in a way because I think we did then lose more focus.
Yeah.
Because the first drive just took care of business, marched down the field, scored a touchdown. Then, of all players, like Mawanoa made a stupid penalty on defense, and he never does stuff like that. And that's how they moved the ball in the first place.
All right.
So, and then obviously ended up kicking that bomb of a field goal. Like, that wasn't even really a drive. We made a 15-yard penalty, and that Grammatica little bastard was just like bombed a 56-yarder that like went through mid upright. Like, that thing was good from 65.
Yeah.
It looked it's like they're putting in the freshman kicker. I'm like, there's no way. It's like it's Grammatica. I'm like, wait, there is a way. But that was 3 of their points right there. It was just one stupid penalty. So it's little things like that. And obviously, like when you're in the heat of the game, you're like, oh my God, we're leaving you in the game. But this is, I think, the difference between the last few years. Like,
and you know what, that quote unquote interception from Jacoby George, what I consider it a fumble. I'm going to petition the ACC or college football to go ahead and turn that into a fumble instead, because he doesn't deserve to get that interception. To me, it looked like it was a fumble. So, but it sucked. But he kind of came back. What's up, Gus? He kind of came back and had another nice little catch later on, and I think Jacoby's fine, right?
Did he get hurt? I feel like I saw him limp off, and I don't recall seeing him back in there.
Yeah, he came back in after that, but I think that's why he didn't play as much. You saw Zay Horton get a lot more snaps, which is fine because he played a hell of a game today. Yeah. But you saw a couple weeks ago, last week, you saw Jacoby George go for 6 and over 100 and a score. So you saw him play really well. He played really well the first game. He's been doing really good this year so far, and he tough break, right? You kind of lose a little bit of focus again, and the thing pops out of your arm, whatever it was, and it turns into an interception. But I'm not too, at first I was kind of pissed off about that because it's a lack of focus, if you ask me. But there was so many other things that were really upsetting, and a lot of it, to be honest, I don't think had to do so much with our play, right? As I mentioned before, the fatigue was there, the lack of focus was there, especially from Cam Ward. You saw him missing some throws that were too easy. He should have made them. But, 24 of 34, 404 yards, 3 touchdowns again. I'm really not going to harp on that.
It should have been 5 touchdowns. That Jacoby dropped. And then they just stole Horton's TD. So I don't know what that was, how they're overturning. I mean, these refs. Anyway. By the way,
Cam Ward's the first Miami Hurricanes quarterback in 25 years with at least 4 straight games of 300 passing yards.
Yeah.
If you recall, Ralph is the one who picked us to win 45-42. So he's
Was it him? Was it Ralph? Yeah.
I'm pretty damn sure it was because I clipped it and put it out on Twitter when I do the clips at the end of the show. So, but yeah, Ralph is having fun there. No, I to your point, Jess, it wasn't like consistently.
It wasn't. Like, look at him laughing at the
chat. It wasn't consistently bad play. It was like if we just made one more play, the game would be over, and then we would screw that play up, and then just kind of leave them in there. Even at the end of the half, like that 3rd and 16.
Yeah.
And you let the screen pass go. If you just get off the field there, they're going to punt. You're going to score another touchdown. The game's over at halftime, right? And it's just there were several of those that you mentioned. Cam missed two throws on the same play sequence. One where he underthrew Chris Johnson. I think Chris Johnson was just a lot faster than he thought because he basically by the time he threw it, Chris Johnson was already at the goal line. He probably should have thrown it earlier. And then I think it was Horton on the other one that he overthrew as well in that sequence. It was the one where he flipped it to Lyles and they reviewed it and said he was down.
Right. Yeah.
So that like you make any of those plays at that point, it was 14-12. You go up 21-12. It's frankly, probably over also, just because you get up 2 scores. So there was, just left some plays on the field, penalties at the wrong time. That long drive they went on where they kicked a field goal. You and I were talking about this when we were texting, Jazz, but like Marley Cook, we tried to sub, like they're playing that pace. You can't sub if they're not subbing.
And then he's going half-ass.
Well, I mean, I think he's gassed. He's the one who made the tackle. He's lying on the ground. He gets up, and it was, he made the tackle on Brown on that play. And that's just, you can't sub if they're not. If they sub, then they stop the game and let you sub. If they don't sub, they can just go. And we're trying to run on fresh defenders. It was 3rd and long, gave them, a short field, and they were able to convert. And just little plays here and there, a lot of penalties, but just, that would have killed the game off earlier. But once we strung a few more plays together, it was always going to be over. You could tell there was a big gulf in quality there, and it just eventually.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that the best use of time management that Mario Cristobal has ever done in his career as a coach was when he called the timeout in the first half, the first timeout, to kind of give the guys a breather. Because honestly, they were pretty fatigued, right? They looked tired, man. I mean, they were running on that tempo and getting a couple yards here and there, and it wasn't like they were, manhandling the team. I mean, the guys made a couple of mistakes here and there. There was some miscommunication on a couple of breakdowns, and they were able to move the ball. Plus, we, as you mentioned, Vish, some penalties, but the guys were kind of gassed. So I think that the best thing Mario could have done at that point was call that timeout to give him a little bit of a breather. That was a little bit later on in the second quarter, and as you saw the game continue to develop, the most impressive part to me was how cool and calm and collected that entire team was, from the players to the coaching staff to everybody. Like, even when we were down 15-14 for a couple of seconds, right? DJ, I'll go to you first because I know Vish's answer. Did you feel at any point that this game was in danger of being lost? Or did you feel scared that you're like, damn, we're down 15-14. This is not looking good for Miami? Or are you like, that's all right, they'll figure it out and they'll go ahead and they'll get it together. Oh, by the way, hold on a second. Big shout out to Ivan Chavez. He's a old school friend of mine, man. Appreciate the love. Thanks for coming on and watching the show a little bit, man. Awesome family, by the way. That's an awesome family right there, the Chavez. I'm not sure if it's the son or the father, but either way, they're all great people. DJ, what's your thoughts on that?
It's almost like a cat playing with a mouse, right? You kind of let USF sort of hang in there a little bit, and based off of last week too, and even some of the previous games this season, we saw where Miami struggled in the first half, and then they finished. They played the way we all know they can play, and they blew the doors off everybody. So I wasn't really worried. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more energy in the first half there, but they got the job done. And I mean, credit to USF. They played their game. They played physical. They played fast, and they certainly made it interesting for the first couple of quarters. But by the end, Miami, clearly showed that they had more talent, and so no, I wasn't really that worried. I mean, I think when you have as many playmakers on the offensive side of football, for example, as Miami does, it's just a testament to how deep this team is. And I think they said at one point, Cam Ward threw a pass to at least 8 different receivers. So, he was able to keep the USF defense off balance. And so I wasn't really worried. I just, Miami has started slow, but they've always been able to, finish so far this season, and that's the mark of a good team.
Yeah, it was nine receivers caught passes.
9 in total 9. Wow.
Yeah, I felt like, obviously I'm supremely confident in this team, but like I just didn't, to what I was talking about earlier. There's plays here and there that were keeping USF in the. Like, I don't know what the hell the commentators are watching, but like, this game was very one-sided from the word go, and they were staying in the game because of our mistakes. They kept saying they're settling for field goals. I mean, 2 of those were bombs, like for 50 plus. That's not settling for a field goal. That's a miracle you have a college kicker that made 2 of those. That's what that is. Like, so yeah. No, but I mean, so like they were commenting on a game that wasn't happening on the field. the game was very one-sided the whole way, and the score wasn't catching up because we were leaving them in the game, making mistakes. So I always felt we'd be able to clean that up. And then when we did, the game kind of just completely went away from them. But I never felt threatened by this just because again, I think it was pretty clear who the better team was. Cam Ward had all day to throw. Everyone was open. Like they weren't really doing anything to stop us. And it would have been more concerning if I felt, even though we mentioned Cam Ward missed some throws, he was still in control of the game. We've yet to see him rattled which is the only time I'd really worry, is if like he was, giving us some of the TBD vibes from last year where, sometimes he was on, sometimes when he was off, it's like, this guy can't play quarterback. If he gets rattled, that would be the thing that caused me to be worried, but that just doesn't happen. And one of the underrated things is just the way he navigates the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
They're bringing blitzers off the edge or up the middle. He just slides around. It's like he's got a sixth sense. He knows where the pressure is coming from. He never looks at it, doesn't panic, but the ball always comes out before he gets hit. He doesn't really. I don't think they had a sack, even though they did get people around him. But he's good at moving in the pocket, keeping the plays alive, because he can throw from any arm angle. Even if he's got to step up or shuffle his feet, and he's not really square to the target. It doesn't really matter. And that's makes us really hard to defend. So
that in and of itself is absolute talent right there. That
and those dump offs to the running back, I think one of them might have been design screen. The other one was just check downs, but he was able to navigate around the blitz. And I'm thinking, like, if we didn't have him, that's a sack. Yeah. Maybe a fumble. Some of them come from the blind side, and he feels it and gets the ball out, and it's just really impressive. So as long as he's in there, hell, it's just USF can, like you said, run their gimmicks, run their tempos. Which, by the way, I mean, they were talking about how it's gassing us. I don't even know if they can field a team next week. They were run out of players by the end of the game, and as much as the tempo definitely affected us, right? I do think it affected them just as much. Like, they started talking about, they're making false starts. They made some motion penalties.
Right.
Yeah, that's because they're also rushing. Right, so there is a negative effect on both teams for that, and if they called holding on them, like, they might not have gotten a first down this entire game. So,
and God knows that there was a lot of holding that they didn't call.
I mean, it was every play. That's why our defensive line would just get into the backfield. They'd hold, like, literally from behind. Sometimes it was the only time they called it was on that fourth down when Mesidor got open field tackle. I'm like, all right, we gotta call that one because it was right at the point of the attack when he was scrambling and the dude just took him down.
Let me tell you, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, that little guy, that Sean Atkins for USF, had a lot of catches and he had some yardage and all that. But it was because he was, it was a lot of movement, a lot of motion. He was motioning, and he would get open for a couple of yards. And Daryl Porter was running around like a madman. And at first I was like, this kid is eating Daryl Porter up. But as the game kept going, you realize that, you know what? I'll live with that. And I think Daryl Porter said the same thing. He's like, I'm going to live with those 4 or 5 yard catches, underneath, and not give up the big plays down the field. And we saw maybe a couple of throws that he made down the field that were caught on a couple of couple plays. But for the most part, are you not surprised, but are you impressed with the way that our defensive backs play? Because I know some people are going to say, I don't think they played that great. He threw for over 260 yards and this, that, and the other. But if you ask me, man, they didn't run the ball very well, right? USF did not run the ball very well. He threw the ball. Byron Brown threw the ball a lot. And so when you look at that, 260 yards, okay, I can live with that. Are you okay with the play of the defensive backs? Because I feel like it was pretty impressive, man. They did what they had to do. They got a couple of stupid calls, stupid penalties that I think that, again, were bogus, if you ask me. But are you guys impressed or happy with the play of the defensive backs? Any of you can answer,
Yeah, I think when you look at the box score, the statistics don't really tell the whole story. I mean, that number seems large when you just look at it from face value, but if you actually watch the game, I thought the defensive backs did a pretty solid job of covering the receivers. I mean, there was that point in the game where, Miami was a little bit rattled by the USF tempo. Obviously, that didn't last, but that accounted for a lot of the yards. And overall, I was very pleased with the play of the defensive backs. I thought they had a solid game. I mean, USF has some athletes, and I thought they were covered very well. And I think this is a tough USF team who can not necessarily provide a stalwart passing attack, but they can move the football down the field. And I think my big thing would be did Miami give up many big plays from the secondary? Did the secondary struggle? I think bottom line, no. I think a lot of those were empty yards, and at the end of the day, it didn't really affect the outcome of the game. Miami took care of business.
Yeah, 254 yards. I'm sorry, was the total for Byron.
Yeah, and then the backup had some in garbage time, which we
he
care about.
threw 2 picks, and the passing touchdown was on a gimmick play again. They had to.
Yeah, no, the quarterback caught that. Yeah. No, they emptied the clip and they were losing.
We withstood it. And we held our own, and then we dominated the rest.
Yeah,
of the
that was another one that Mauano would like to have back, because actually Elijah Alston was running down the Atkins from behind, was about to tackle him, and
right.
Mauano let the quarterback run past him, and he could have just followed him and would have been a sack. But I will say, yeah, for a team again. So we talked about this before the game. They're a running team. Clearly, we entered the game to take the running game away, and we did that. So that sense, good job in the game plan. I will say we should have been able to do a better job on Atkins. He had 11 catches for 125 yards. That's not. I know we were giving them more of the passing. That's not acceptable. You can't let one guy do that. That can, if you're playing a real team, I'll do lack of respect, I guess, because I said that to USF. That type of stuff you should be able to take away that guy if he's roasting you like that. And even through the end of the game, we never really did. So that I'm assuming they're going to do a lot of adjusting to that on talent. It's good to have that happen in this game and instead of against a team in a competitive game. But that I didn't like that, especially since that was basically all he was just locked in on him, and so there were times when we covered him and he basically took a sack because he didn't even know. Like they can't throw. So while I understand we're taking away the running game, they had 400 something passing yards total coming in this game and went for 3 bills against us. That's not good. So now again, a lot of it was also on that screen pass, which was just a bad play call. I don't know why you're sending the house on 3rd and 16, but and they caught us in that one. So there's some stuff to clean up, but I still don't think USF is very good either. So there's they were talking about, well, if they could win this game, they can get into the play. They're not getting into the playoffs. What are you even talking about, dude? Commentators must have gotten some. I'll leave it there. But look, there's a lot of stuff floating around Florida. They might have gotten into it, but so there's stuff to clean up, but overall, I think the game plan was take the runaway, and if you judge it on game plan execution,
right,
that's exactly what they came in. If you tell me what is it, 33 carries, 62 yards, whatever, something like that, this is a team that can really run the football. They're like a top 10 rush offense. So doing that is impressive, even if it's an overmatched opponent. Because they had played those stats of being in the top 10 as a rush offense include playing Alabama. So it's not, they came out of that game still in the top 10. They're not going to be there anymore. So would have liked to do a little bit better against the pass, but understood that the corners were on islands. They
played a lot of man.
Yeah, I know. Play a lot of man and put the safeties in the box. We were they're not going to run the ball. You could see Mish Powell. You could see them creeping up into the box. So that's why you have to give that cushion. That's why they were able to hit a lot of that underneath stuff. So it is what it is. They took away what they needed to, though, because USF was never going to win this game just throwing.
No,
and so that. So I think overall it's a good game plan. I'm sure that there's some stuff they'd like back, but as who was it? God, these things. There's actually people commenting, but someone in the their TD was a trick play off of a turnover.
Yeah, then a bunch of field goals.
And 2 of them were just bombed field goals too. then they had a couple other drives, and that was about it. One was the missed field goal, and one was the made field goal. So there weren't a lot of there weren't a lot of drives. Despite I don't know what game the commentators were watching. Despite them saying, "Oh, they keep getting in the red zone," they barely did. They got in there twice, and then that garbage time one where they threw the interception with the back quarterback was the third time. So yeah, game wasn't competitive.
Kind of moving along here. I want to talk a little bit about the offense again. Miami had a total of
Actually, before we do that, can we play our other sponsor?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's do it. Yeah.
Guess what, everyone? Football is back, and it's here to stay until February. Did you know that you can enhance your football viewing experience with Underdog Fantasy? Join over 1 million fans across 33 states that made picks on Underdog last year. My personal favorite is the higher or lower stats entry on my favorite NFL players on Sunday mornings after watching the Canes win on Saturday. The website is easy to use and the contests are easy to enter. I love playing CeeDee Lamb higher rushing yards and waiting for the Cowboys to run a reverse. I never got into team fantasy football because I didn't want to cheer against my own team, but with Underdog Fantasy, I can support my team by making picks for higher stats. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code 5REASONS. That is the word 5 reasons spelled out FIVEREASONS. And Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code 5REASONS, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit over. Must be 18 or older to play, 21 or over in Massachusetts and Arizona, 19 or over in Alabama and Nebraska, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783. Or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369.
All right. So let's talk about this here for a second. 574 yards of total offense. As much as we struggled to run the ball, we still ran for 170 yards today, right? Again, I think my biggest concern is not getting the running game going early enough and often enough. However, when you got Cam Ward doing what he's doing with his arm and his legs to a certain degree as well, even. It's kind of hard to nitpick and say, well, we need to run the football better, because at the end of the day, I think that teams are still loading up the box for us because they know we can we can run the football, right? I don't think there's that's a question. I know that today the stats look a little bit better because Jordan Lyle hit that 91-yarder at the end of the game for a score. So you take that away and we ran for less than 100 yards. I get that. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a football team that threw for 400 yards. And if you're controlling the football and they're not going to stop you from throwing the football, then keep throwing the damn ball. However, my biggest concern is, are we not running it enough early? Are we doing enough? I guess it's not a concern. It's more of a question, right? Are we doing enough in the run game? And to be perfectly honest with you, I think that, and we said it last week also, and I know that I've been a big advocate of this also, but I think that we need to get AJ Allen the ball more on offense as in the running game. You're seeing how he runs the football, right? I mean, I love what Damian Martinez is doing because you're not going to stop him down there in short yardage or in goal line. He's going to score you those touchdowns, right? You talk about 3 touchdowns today on 31 yards rushing. But when he scored his 3 touchdowns, he only had 9 yards rushing. So it's pretty impressive what he does when he does touch the ball like that. However, AJ Allen is doing a hell of a job running the football. And today you saw again Jordan Lyle do his thing. I think, and I've told this to a couple of people, I think Jordan Lyle is going to end up being the the best one out of the bunch when it's all said and done. It might not be this year, but I think he's gonna be written in the history books here at UM. That's how good I think Jordan Lyle is. But you got a four-headed rushing attack there, and that's not even counting Chris Johnson and some of the other stuff that they do, with the running game. So are you concerned at all about the slow start to the running game as well, Vish, or do you think that that's just the way that we've game planned and schemed this offense that later on when we're pushing the football down the field, now that does open up the run game and we're able to run it better at the end and break the will of those teams later on in the game and kind of tire them out?
Yeah, it's hard to say. You figure at some point we are going to need to run the ball in a competitive game, and we haven't really done that. With that said, we do have a senior quarterback is the best quarterback in the country. So one, it's always a good option to have him throwing it. But two, I mean, he's got complete command of this offense. And when you see teams loading the box, I'm sure he has the option to check to throws. Like, I don't know that all these are coming in as we're just not going to run the football as much as, look, if they're going to creep a 7th and 8th guy into the box, just throw the ball. Like, they can't cover our receivers and the quarterback can drop the ball on a dime. Like, why wouldn't you throw it? And I'm definitely not worried about Martinez's average yards per carry. The end zone kept stopping him. If you have 3 1-yard touchdown runs, your average is going to hurt. So I was actually really pleased with all of our running backs in the receiving game. I love how we kind of when needed, and they weren't really designed. I think one of them might have been a screen, but most of them were just checkdowns. But got the ball, secured it, got upfield, got yardage out of it. So even when the play broke down, they were effective. I think Martinez had 2 catches for 50 yards. So he's putting in work anyway, and he scored the 2. So there was other ways they impacted the game, doing a good job in pass protection because USF was blitzing a lot. And I think we did early try to run the ball. I think it was in the second possession where they blitzed the safety, shot the gap, and made a tackle for loss. Like, I think at that point we, don't need to run against where they're massing their people. You might as well just throw it. So I'm not that concerned about it. I do think, I don't know, we haven't been in a competitive game yet, right? So if we get into a situation where there's like 3 minutes left in the game, our team's got a couple of timeouts, there's a 2-minute warning. All right, we need to grind out this first down. I mean, we haven't seen that yet. So that ability to really just run the ball against a team that knows you're going to run and still get yardage. I will say those goal line runs weren't even close, though. Like, we pancaked the whole defensive line. So and walked into the end zone, right?
If you notice, Cam Ward was telling the defense.
Yeah. I mean, he was talking his shit, but that does bode well because that is a situation where it's beef on beef, and we're able to win up front there. So not overly concerned, but I do think as much as I'd like to beat everyone by 3 or 4 touchdowns, like eventually you're going to get into a game where you're going to have to grind out some first downs to win.
Right.
And that's, we haven't been able to run against the stack box. And I know it's easy to say, well, you throw in the stack box. Sure, in the first quarter. If you're trying to, run your 4-minute offense and close the game out. Frankly, before we forgot to kneel the ball against Georgia Tech last year, that's one of those drives, right? Guy with like 7 minutes left just grinded the game out on the ground could have kneeled the ball and won the game, but that was all just on the ground. They knew we were running, we knew we were running, and just we haven't seen that out of this team. But this team is so much better than last year's. If last year's team could do things like that, I can't imagine if we actually needed to. Like, if we actually need to,
we'll be able to do that without a problem.
Yeah, well, we haven't shown it yet though, and so when you're asking, I'm not worried about establishing the running game because I don't really care where the yards come from. We're scoring a ton, score record for points across 4 games. So, I mean, that's the goal, is to score. But, there are times where you do need to run the ball to close games out, and we won't know till we know, right? So, but we haven't really consistently been able to run the ball because we don't have to. They're crowding the box and saying, beat us throwing, and all right, we'll throw 400 yards and 4 touchdowns or whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. The wide receiver play was again solid.
I mean, X is out of control, man.
Yeah, he is just. I mean,
he's so good.
He catch that ball up the middle, and then he just stopped, twirled, turned around, and went the other way, and had everybody stop. I mean, he's just too nasty.
He had 99 yards. You need one more. Damn.
X
had 6 for 99. Oh, so close.
Geez.
Damn. But he made a couple of the touchdown he made was just a ridiculous catch where he's getting interfered with, and then the other one where he got interfered with on the sideline, he caught them. Basically, if it's anywhere near him, he just catches. He's so good. It's ridiculous.
Wow. So yeah, Zaya Horton. Zay had
outstanding
catches, 108 yards on the touchdown. He had Xavier Restrepo, 6 for 99 with a touchdown. Sammy Brown finally getting getting in.
Oh
in
boy,
the
did he make an impact! That was the deciding touchdown.
Yep, one touchdown there. Damian Martinez, as you mentioned, 2 for 50. Arroyo only had a couple of catches. Elijah Lofton had one. AJ Allen, Jacoby George, Riley Williams. I mean, Jacoby George didn't have his best game, right? Obviously.
I mean, you can't take. I mean, he had 1 for 10, but I don't think anyone would even care about that if
nobody cares.
If he didn't have, well, I mean, he had the -1 for gave them a touchdown, so I think that one is one that people do care about. So
not only do people not care, but I think this team, man, this is a team, right? Like you see how happy they are for each other. They're not worried about who's the one that's showing out. They're all hungry to get the ball. They all want the football. They all want to make plays. And when they all get a chance, they do make plays. And that's, and then they cheer each other on and they got each other's back. And I love to see that. You look at the sidelines, they were showing the sideline shots. I'm sure everybody saw it of Cam there talking it up with everybody and kind of shooting the breeze with the defense and the offense at the same time. Him celebrating. And by the way, I got to give a shout out to, one of the best Miami Hurricanes, I think. You got to give a shout out to Miles Muyong for getting his first career interception. The kid was a walk-on and, always wanted to get on the field and play some football. And look, he's done a lot of good things. He's been great on practice squad, right? He's just one of those guys that's never going to see the field too much. He was actually able to get in on those last couple of defensive plays and caught a tip ball on a tip ball and was able to pick off the quarterback. So really happy for him. If there's anybody that deserves it, it's him. So real excited to see a guy like Miles Williams get a pick and get that turnover. So and he did get the turnover chain. I saw he went to the stadium. He went into the seats and took it from one of the fans that gave it to him, which was kind of funny, right? Kind of.
But also keep the Manny Diaz shit away from my program, please.
Wait, Miles Williams, I think is the only one left from that Manny Diaz.
Please keep that. Do not bring any of that energy in here, man. I don't want tackling dummies with 7 and 6 written on them. Leave the circus in Durham, man. We don't need that stuff. We're a serious football program now.
Yeah, right.
I'm obviously joking around. It's good the kids are having fun.
Yeah, man. I thought that was great. From a defensive standpoint, I think the defense. I mean, they played lights out in the second half, right? They held up to 0 points. They pitched a shutout, 28-0, in the second half, and that's just a testament to the coaching staff, the players, all kind of buying in and making those adjustments in the second half, and obviously going away with it and winning the football game handily. So a big shout out to them. I was interested in seeing that OJ Frederick didn't start off the game. Didn't play a lot, and then they started seeing him get on the field a little bit more in the second half. Wesley Basaint, I'm not sure what happened with him, but I saw Popo come in and get a lot of playing time in the second half.
I thought I saw Wes get banged up in the first half.
Maybe that's what it was.
He might have got. I feel like I recall him limping. He got banged up by the sideline.
So maybe that's why you saw.
Actually, I'm trying to think if I saw him after that. So yeah, Popo played really well. Yeah,
Popo played really well. You had Dione Hill played pretty well as also, and of course that front four is, a stout Simeon Barrow keeps kind of showing out. Tyler Barron today looked like he was being held every single play and double teamed every single play. And he still was able to mount some pressure there. So
I mean, the whole D line was getting held on. There was some. Brutal. The only one they called was when they on that fourth down where they open field tackled Mesidor to open the gap up their quarterback to run through, and they had to call it. But other than that, they just let them.
When will we see Ruben Bain again, right? I think that.
Well, I mean, I tweeted this before the game, and someone said, "If you're not a doctor, shut the fuck up." So I'm like, congrats to that guy. But look, because all I said was this is now a long-term injury, and it is. You missed 4 games. That's a third of the season.
Right. So what
that's
the
a
hell
long-term injury. Like you're not holding someone out precaution for 4 games. Like he's clearly injured. Same thing, Jalen Rivers. We have not seen since the first game either. So that's he's missed a
Ryan
quarter.
Rodriguez, another one who started at left guard.
Yeah, so we're down some key players that we haven't seen in a while, and we can tell jokes about. I mean, we have no idea what's going on, obviously, because
and they're not going to tell us.
No, they'll say it's day to day, and they're about to be back. Whether they're going to be back next week or they're out for the season. I mean, this week was a good illustration, right? Because Coop and Rivers got the same. Yeah, they're going to practice. They're playing, and
like
they can say the exact same thing about both of them. Cooper started and played the whole game, and Rivers didn't dress. So
yeah, you saw a little bit of Markel Bell and Sam Okunlola.
Yep.
Tackle.
Yeah, we rotate him at left tackle. So yeah, we don't know if we're going to see either of those guys soon at all. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Tough.
Hopefully we get.
I mean, again, we haven't played a competitive game. Like none of this has cost us yet. It's hard to imagine that we went from what was there last year to so much better than everyone else that we can be without Bain and Rivers and still run through this conference.
Kind of crazy, right?
I don't think I think we're the best team in this conference. I picked us to go undefeated. So it's not, but I mean, without Bain and Rivers,
I know.
It's hard to believe we're that much better than everyone else all of a sudden, right? I mean, that's a lot.
Maybe we are, man.
Maybe we are.
The rest of the team, there's one common denominator. That's number 1, and that guy is the difference maker on.
Well, that and so he's helping a lot too. But Bell coming in as the backup means we do have good coverage for.
He's done a great job.
Yeah, we do have good coverage for Rivers, and then our D line is just we loaded up in the portal and they've all hit. Like Simeon Barrows just collapsed in the middle of that line the whole game. And then obviously we talked a lot about Barron. Like these are guys that weren't here last year, so we've seen Marley Cook starting to flash too. Like there's a lot of good happening there. So. That's how we're able to get away without Bain. Because last year, if you didn't have Bain, I mean, who's even out there? Yeah. Right. Now you're seeing. I didn't even mention Mesidor's back too.
That's what I'm saying, right? Mesidor had a good game today. I mean, and then you got behind all these guys, you still got Armando Blunt, who's 17 years old, by the way. Right. And he's doing the things he's doing. Justin Scott, again, putting some pressure today. Ahmad Moten having a good game. And then you've got guys like Malik Bryant, right, who come in and Jalen Alderman, you saw some of him as well today, and those guys can put some pressure and rush. Malik Bryant's great off the edge. So you've got a lot of players there. Popo, obviously, we saw him play a lot also today. So the depth is getting there. The depth is almost to where we can say this is a legit championship contender. I think that we're kind of there already, and I think that all we need to do right now is look. We got to gear up for ACC play now. So. Regardless of what we think, ACC play is ACC play. So it starts to get tougher now. There's a little more pressure. Let's put it down. A little more pressure.
And the games are more important, right? We talked about this earlier. Like this new format puts an emphasis on the conference games.
Right.
Like we could be 0-4 right now, and if we win the next 8 games, we're in the playoffs.
We're a top 4 seed. Crazy.
We're in the playoffs, right? And so that's the way the system is now. So it's good what we've done, but yeah, it gets serious next week. We got to win those. I mean, at this point, even making the ACC championship game, if we're 12-0, we'll probably get an at-large even if we lose it. So these games do matter, right? These and the comfortable nature in which we're winning them matter because their style points count, right? So if you end up in the ACC championship game, you're like the number 2 team in the country, and you lose a close game to Clemson. You're probably still going to make the playoffs because there'll probably be a second ACC team in. So all this winning matters. And so it's good that again handling this and doing it in an impressive fashion. It still matters for us because we're not in the SEC where Missouri can look like ass every week and still be ranked in front of us. So shout out to that big time overtime win against Vanderbilt when their kicker missed a 10-yard field goal at the end. Good job, Missouri. Making them with the top 5 now. We should just put them on the schedule.
Well,
if we play them right now, I'd love to beat them by 30.
That would be fun.
They suck. Anyway.
I don't know about suck, but top 5 maybe not so much.
I mean, BC blew that game to them last week. It's been Missouri's not a good football team. They should not be ranked in front of us.
I mean, they're 4-0, so
yeah, they shouldn't be ranked in front of us. We're
right, but they're a good. They're a good football team.
They're a good football team. Fish, calm down. All right, you're getting a little, cocky by Miami Hurricane.
No, I'm not even. This isn't even about Miami. This is about Missouri being completely overrated. They rated them high to start the year, and then
I don't know if top 5, but it's a good football team. Yeah, they're a good football team.
They're gonna go 8-4.
They're good. Maybe. But right now they're 4. But right now they're 4-0.
They haven't played anyone.
To argue that, right? It's to argue. I mean, Oregon looked like crap the first couple of games. They're obviously a top 5 program, right? They're good.
Are they?
Yeah.
Obviously a top 5 program.
Yeah. Obviously, yes. Obviously,
Bro.
They are.
All right, we're gonna see where these teams end up. I think once they get into the meat of the Big Ten schedule, you're gonna realize.
I mean, is Ole Miss obviously a top 5 program because they're number 5 in the country right now? Who have they played? They haven't played anybody.
True.
They haven't played anybody, so they can easily be overrated also, right? So, they're putting 50 burgers on everybody, but it's style. You gotta win with style, and if you can win with style, you're gonna get the.
You gotta win with style if you're Missouri.
Yeah, you gotta win with style if you're anybody.
Not Missouri. You keep moving them up.
Someone
goes time home win against Vanderbilt. Move them up to top 5.
You definitely got something against Missouri, man. Jesus Christ!
I'm just saying. I'm looking at the rankings. I'm like, how the bleep is that team in front of us? That's all I'm saying.
They got probably the I would say top 2 or 3 wide receiver in the country. That's for sure. Luther Burden is the truth.
For him.
But that's a good program, man. That's a good program.
Watch where this ends up. Watch where this ends up. Watch where this ends up.
Texas is good. Yeah, right. They suck. Arch Manning, overrated piece of crap.
Texas went into Michigan and blew them out and has blown everyone out.
There it is.
Missouri has almost lost twice. Bad teams at home.
Almost doesn't count, Vish.
It does if you're splitting hairs at the top of the rankings.
Well, I mean, they've probably played a lot better competition than Ole Miss does, and they're ranked lower than them.
Anyway, that was a tangent.
Hey, you got it against you got to get him. I don't know, man. We're gonna have to do something with Missouri for you.
He's got a bee in his bonnet about Missouri.
You think I'd be pleased they hired Frank Hayes and saved their basketball program, but they have no business being ranked.
What about LSU, man? LSU, the Fighting Blake Bakers. Huh?
LSU's an embarrassment. Screw Brian Kelly.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. Michigan with a big win over USC today.
Yeah.
Considering they changed their offense, so there you go. Anyways, ACC play is now getting started. Miami plays
short turnaround too.
They play Virginia Tech Friday night at home, and then they are off to they're off to California after that, right?
Yep. And Cal the following week, then bye week, then at Louisville, then FSU.
But now it's all ACC.
Yep, 8 ACC games in a. We were.
There's
say this out loud, but this team was 4-0 last year, heading into ACC play.
Yep. Well,
and then the no-Neal happened.
It was a much different 4-0.
Yes. Mm-hmm. None of those games were close.
They weren't like this.
No, this is a much different 4-0.
I'm not comparing the two in that sense. I think this team is way better, but. If you recall, starting line, we blew out A&M at home. It was coming out of that Temple game, who we blew out on the road because inexplicably we were playing at Temple. Now we're playing at USF. I don't know who's doing our scheduling, but we were feeling good coming into that bye week, and then that Georgia Tech game happened and derailed the whole season. This team's not going to have that happen, and that's all I'm suggesting. We were here last year, so but that's how you learn.
Listen, what's going on with you, man? You're beginning of the season, and every other game, you're like, Stop living in the past. Now we're like, hey, you
I just
last year. Oh!
I literally, as you cut me off, said that's not going to happen this year. And sometimes you have to go through those things to learn lessons and to grow as a program. I think we've been through it. As you were interrupting.
Walk it back a little bit there, Vish. Good job.
Okay, I think there's ample evidence on YouTube of my confidence in this
Walk
team.
back for those who quite literally can't, Vish. Do it for me, pal.
You and Blue can walk your predictions back. I'm feeling good.
Do it for me, pal.
Still waiting for Blue for you to hit that game-winning field goal to beat us that Blue had. So he painted a word picture there.
Yeah, he did. All right, Miami, Virginia Tech next Friday, 7:30 p.m.
Yeah,
we will be at the game. I will be at the game. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm flying in on Thursday night.
All right, there you go.
I hope Miami faces Missouri in the playoffs. That's what I hope.
Missouri's not making no playoffs. Get out of here.
I love it, DJ. That was a good one. Oh, man. Missouri ACC champs, all right? SEC champs, excuse me, SEC champs.
That's not a chance.
Anyways, check us out on Monday. They suck. Check us out on Monday.
Prediction though, we're going to be ranked ahead of them on Monday.
I think
we're finally going to drop their ass. I think almost losing to Vanderbilt at home is probably a last straw type.
I think so. I think you're right. No,
I agree with that.
I do agree with that.
Because getting pushed around by BC and lucking into a win wasn't enough. So now it's.
Hey, BC's not bad, man. BC's not bad.
I think BC's
BC kind of struggled with FSU. They barely blew them out. You know, it's
barely blew them out. We're done.
Actually, they pulled that game out of their ass tonight. BC, good win in the rain, threw a bomb.
Follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes. Check us out Monday at 8:30.
Yeah, we got the full show on Monday. We'll talk VT. We'll turn the page. You know what I was thinking, like. You know, when you know, like what we call UF or FSU, like our little brother, because we're better programs than them. I was like, what is USF, like second cousin twice removed? Like you're kind of aware of their existence, but you never actually think about that. I was like, oh yeah,
they're your cousin by marriage.
There we go. Something like that. It's like they're out there, you're vaguely aware that they exist, but you never talk to them.
Exactly. That's what we are. Oh, we got Martin. Overseas. Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Is it Botswana?
I think so.
It's definitely somewhere in Africa.
Yeah, well, it's actually morning here too now, so
it is.
I'm just glad the game ended before midnight. You know.
Once again, Miami Hurricanes take down USF 50-15. We will have much more on Monday night on the show, so make sure you tune in.
See you guys tomorrow.
See you guys.
Oh yeah, that is correct. That is technically correct.
See you guys tomorrow.
You got to watch 5 hours of football too, just by watching the second half. Good for you, Martin.
See you guys. Have a good night.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.